Oh yeah! Get ready for the PGA Smackdown!
That's right, kids. It's Sports Frenzy 2.0. Spotify, Anchor, Google, all over the place. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
Yes, we're leading off with golf this week, believe it or not. We're taping here on the 26th of May. This will hit on the 27th. One of the 4 times, I would say this, in a current sports year that we would start with golf.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
No, but the PGA Championship was fantastic this past weekend.
Congrats to lefty Phil Mickelson on winning the tourney. Well played.
200 to 1 odds.
That was a big comeback for him.
And
unbelievable performance.
6 under, oldest, obviously, to win a major ever. And the thing that hits me, that strikes me, is that I remember growing up when Jack Nicklaus won the Masters at 46.
And he looked
old. He looked 60, 65. And Phil looked, for 50, phenomenal.
Yeah, he was moving and grooving really well out there.
Yeah. Well, of course, now, and we'll get into all the conflicts and the, as you alluded to in your opening, the smackdowns that are coming and that happened. Phil has now taken on a new philosophy. Phil has taken on this new
meditation.
Yes.
Yeah. He goes into Zen mode before each shot.
Visualize.
So it takes be the ball, Danny, to a whole new level.
Yeah, and he's talking to himself. He's talking to his caddy, visualizing. He's doing the whole eye flutter thing. The eyes are fluttering because
he's breathing through his eyelids.
Yeah, and we'll
how many more references can we get in here?
It worked. It worked for him, though. You cannot argue with that.
Can't argue with the results.
Yep. The course at Kiowa Island in South Carolina was brutal. The wind shifted every day. But that being said, it was entertaining to watch these guys suffer. Golf is best when the best in the world suffer.
Yeah, it shows they're human and go through the same crap all of us Sunday duffers do.
Yeah, and it's really the only sport, and this is why I will always watch all 4 majors every year. It's because it's the only sport where the conditions change drastically. The course changes every year. Yes, you play in different stadiums in football, but it's basically it's a 100-yard football field.
Yeah, there's not a lot of difference. Some fields have more of a crown than others, but
yeah, basketball, it's a court. It's the same dimensions.
Yeah.
Baseball maybe is the closest to golf, where you might have different dimensions. Wrigley Field, wind blowing out versus wind blowing in, but golf,
again, it's the same field, and if you're playing a 3 or 4 game set, basically the field is the same. Here you've got 18 holes that are going to be a huge variable every time out. They move the pin placement.
Exactly, every day.
On the greens, so.
Right. To make them tougher and tougher as you go through the week into the weekend.
Yep.
And then, of course, the winds will shift based on a front 9, back 9. So I enjoyed watching this. At times, again, as I always do watching a major, I sat there and I was thinking, oh, my God, what are you doing? And then I caught myself realizing, hey, idiot maestro, you know, if you went out on that course, you'd probably shoot a 150.
Yeah.
So why don't you shut up?
Ball.
Yeah, tin cup.
Ball.
I'd be tin cupping it all day. So, congrats again to Phil. Some observations. And later on, I will bring up my dumbass of the week. Will include something from this tournament and the PGA. But observations, I admit a month ago, I called out Vern Lundquist, and I said Vern Lundquist sounded terrible at the Masters.
Right.
And I still think something was wrong with him because he sounded perfect this weekend.
He might have been under the weather during
I
the
still
Masters.
think he had wisdom teeth out. Something happened with him at the Masters because I heard the regular, normal Vern Lundquist this past weekend.
Gotta like
I'm
that.
just trying to tell you people there was something going on at the Masters with him.
Maybe they gave him a bad mic.
Runner-up, tied for second place, was Brooks Koepka. Oh, Brooks. Brooks might have actually given us more entertainment over the weekend and into this current week
than
God. Phil.
Yes, this Koepka's been everywhere with his comments basically going off of DeChambeau. Those two are starting to really heat it up with their war of words back and forth in interviews and via social media. So that's the smackdown that we alluded to at the beginning. This isn't going away anytime soon.
Right. And this goes back in the past. We're going further back than just this current PGA Championship. Koepka's put it on record that he does not like playing with DeChambeau because DeChambeau is very slow, very methodical, likes to talk a lot, tell everybody his stroke, his swing, tell everybody, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. Very arrogant.
Yeah, he's kind of a pompous ass.
Yeah. So I'm going to side with Brooks on anything in this battle because I think Brooks is kind of an intense, old-school guy. He wants to win the right way.
Without all the stupidity.
The pomp and circumstance that Bryson DeChambeau with his little white pork pie hat.
Points for the pork pie hat, though.
Well, that's just because we like Cleet Purcell.
That's true.
But now, Brooks Koepka initially, the drama of the last few days with Brooks, he got caught up in that mess at 18 when it was obvious Phil was going to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the crowd control was pathetic.
Awful.
Pathetic.
You cannot let the crowd rush the golfers in that way.
Yeah, and Phil barely made it through, and Brooks Koepka just had major knee surgery a few months ago.
Yeah, this is his first tourney back.
The first one where he felt well. The first one where he felt like he could compete at his normal level. And, of course, what happens? He gets swallowed up in that crowd, and somebody bumps his knee.
Ouch.
And he's not making excuses that he was going to lose it anyway.
Right. But still, you can't have that happen.
And then there was the interview where DeChambeau was behind him talking, and they've got it on camera where the priceless eye roll. And he dropped a couple nice expletives
Yes.
about Bryson. So now today we've got even more big news.
Yes. The match?
The match. The latest match.
Oh, here we go. Phil Mickelson is again teaming up with Tom Brady. And this time they will be taking on
Mr.
none other
DeChambeau.
than DeChambeau and our favorite quarterback to loathe and hate, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that team. Wow.
Boy, you talk about arrogance. Boy,
Now DeChambeau comes out today and he says, fighting back, he says to Koepka, basically, I'm living rent-free in your head.
And you know what? At this point, kids, he is.
But Tom Brady was talking trash on the internet, too.
Oh, yeah, he's already all over this match.
Yeah. He posted a meme of the eye roll from Brooks Koepka, and he tagged it and said, this is how Aaron Rodgers is going to feel during the match. So.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
You know who I'm rooting for. You know which team I'm going to be rooting for.
Oh, yeah. Lefty and Brady.
Lefty and Brady. So there you go, kids. That's our golf summary for probably the next month or two.
Yeah.
Until the next major.
Or until these two blow up again.
Yeah. Well, actually, July 6th is the date. So just after the 4th will be the match.
So we'll give you the recap on that one.
I still think we got another major coming up before that. I think somewhere the British might be coming here soon. So, all right, let's go to hockey.
Oh,
we're going to talk about some hockey here.
Wow. Big news coming out today as we tape. Wayne Gretzky leaves his job with the Oilers and is going to become an analyst as part of the new TV deal. Said that with everything going on, he just can't give that position what it needs. Now, he might also be falling on his sword because the Connor McDavid-led Oilers got swept out of the playoffs by the Jets. So that was a really disappointing effort by the Oilers.
Yeah. Man, I didn't like the fact that he didn't, and we know corporate speak. We know that these guys in higher positions will never tell you the absolute truth about why they're leaving, why they're going to another company, sports entity. But he said COVID and life issues. Yeah. When everybody already knew he was taking the job at TNT to be an analyst, since they got the new part of the new hockey contract. So can you just...
Money's going to be good, and let's face it, there's less pressure.
No, I don't have a problem with him taking the job. Just be honest. Why can't you just say,
I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to take a more relaxed job in the booth for TNT now that they've got hockey. Yeah. What is so hard with saying that?
Just be honest with everybody. That's all we want.
Oh, and I heard something about his daughter this week, too.
Oh, no. No, don't. All right, go.
She was going to pose in Playboy, but Dustin Johnson told her he had concerns, so she backed off.
Well, there you go.
Now, as a father, how would you feel about that?
Thank you, Dustin. I owe you one for that one.
Jeez, man. Yeah, he's lucky, but at the same time, boy, that's going to be he's got to worry about the high pressure, high stakes world of championship golf. And then he's got to worry about his wife, one of the most lusted after women on the face of the earth.
Opening her shirt for Playboy. Wow.
Yeah, okay, so the playoffs, like you said, the Winnipeg Jets swept the Oilers.
Yep.
Right? So the Bruins and the Avalanche have both advanced.
Yeah.
So we've still got 5 series to be determined.
Yeah, and I'd give it up for Florida for not rolling over against the Lightning. They've got their 6th game coming up tonight as we tape.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. That's the one you and I have been watching. For as little as I know about hockey, even I know that that's a very, very important series.
It's very intense because Florida's been taking some liberties and really riding the line on some of the hits they've been dishing out. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting tonight to see how that one rolls out.
And, of course, next week we will keep you up to date on what's happened as we get into the semifinals, right? Will be next week?
Yeah.
Everything will be – but now is Canada going to let their champion come down here? Or what's going to happen with the Canadian champion?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
So we will keep you updated and up to breast. I'm not thinking of Gretzky's daughter. I swear to you, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, we also have to take on the Avs cadre, who has appealed his 8-game suspension for his illegal head check on St. Louis Blues Falk. This is another guy who is a repeat offender, did the illegal hit, and the NHL is suspending him for multiple games through the playoffs. Huh. Why the hell wasn't Wilson of the Capitals suspended as a repeat offender back before the playoffs began? Those are the questions that we want answers to.
That's right, kids.
Nobody else is asking it.
Just to let you know, I'm disappointed in you people. I really am. You won't check out the weekend edition because it's too hard to sign up for Spotify. So what we have decided to do is we're going to open it up to everybody. We're taking the music out.
Yep. The one thing that we thought might have been the hook to draw you in has failed epically.
Yes. So from now on, starting this week, this Saturday, you will be able to access the weekend edition on all of the other platforms that you normally would access this Sports Frenzy podcast on. Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and CastBox. So we have listened, we have seen your apathy, and we have responded to it. So please start listening to the goddamn weekend edition, will ya?
And don't forget, give us some ratings, please.
And check out the Facebook page. Next segment, the debacle that was the Circuit of the Americas.
Wow, you talk about a downpour of issues.
Lots of racing coming up, kids. Stay tuned. Are you tired of getting body slammed by the mainstream sports media? Are you sick of their lame trash talk? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 with a tag team of the Maestro and the Conquistador. Pile drive those jackasses into submission. Available on all major podcast hosts, including Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and CastBox. Kevin Dave slap a figure 4 on all the major sports networks who lie, kiss ass, and refuse to take names. New episodes drop every Thursday with new weekend edition episodes every Saturday. And that's the bottom line, because Sports Frenzy said so.
Welcome back for segment 2 of Sports Frenzy 2.0. I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
And I'm the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
And here we have your racing segment to start off with. Circuit of the Americas and the pouring rain. Wow, this was a complete debacle on one hand and an exciting as hell race on the other.
Well, they said a couple years ago they were preparing for this. Rain tires, wipers.
Yep, and that's how it should be on a road course.
But this was even more than they could handle.
The torrential downpours, the problem was the pooling of the water on the racetrack. It was not draining at all. And that led to all the rooster tails where there was zero visibility of the car in front of you, which led to an early, near disastrous wreck. Cole Custer, at full speed, ran into an almost stopped Martin Truex Jr., and that was ugly.
Yep. Kevin Harvick had one like that too.
Yeah. And, yeah, you got cars going under each other, almost flipping, fireballs everywhere.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace, I think, got taken out early because of that. Now, for our purposes, in our Sports Frenzy competition, our Frenzy Cup, it worked out unbelievably well.
For all but Mrs. C.
And Nick. Nick did not.
Nick fared.
Yeah, we had 6 of 8. Take Chase Elliott,
who, because of the late torrential downpour, did not have to make the final pit stop for fuel.
He would never have made it. He would never have made it.
2 laps short.
Way short.
And
this is not like Bristol where 2 laps short you can kind of make up.
Yeah.
You're not going to make up 2 laps on a road course like Circuit of the Americas.
No. Not with the elevation changes and having to get on and off the gas the way they did.
I mean, you would have had to have 5-6 caution laps at least to make up for the gas shortage that he was looking at.
Yeah, and if they would have gone green, I think with the cautions they had, it would have done just enough. It would have been really damn close. But we'll never know.
Because he won for us.
And
because they called it 14 laps before the end.
Yep, and poor Kyle Busch wound up pitting, about 5 laps prior to that, because he was going to be short, and he thought he would come in and get new tires and fuel and see what he could do for the best possible finish.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, I would say, were the two best.
Yeah, and Elliott was so, but they really dialed it up and got him tuned in for that final run.
They're smart on road courses. They are. They are unbelievably. They're diabolically smart on road courses.
Yeah. I tell you what, they were using every bit of that track. That was something else. Diving, bombing each other, going into the corners for position. It was probably one of the best road course races I've seen in a while. And they've been getting better.
But was that because of the conditions? Because it was just mass chaos?
It was a little bit of everything. I mean, once things sorted out, you still had guys that were fairly close when the conditions weren't horrendous and where you could actually see in front of you. But once the downpours hit and the pooling started, you had to back off if you wanted to be able to see. But when it wasn't bad, it was some pretty damn good racing.
Other news in NASCAR, that win for Chase Elliott at COTA, as now I guess we have to call it, was Chevy's 800th Cup win. Of course, best of all time.
Yeah. And Hendrick Motorsports was able to tie Petty Motorsports for most victories by an organization.
268. So the great year for Hendrick just keeps motoring on.
Yeah, a 1-2 finish this time for him.
Yeah. As we talked about last week, it was a 1, 2, 3, 4 superfecta.
Yep.
Now, in some other racing news, I have to say, I'll give us a pass on this, but it is a correction. We were joking about Boris Said last week. Boris Said did run in the Xfinity race.
He did.
At Circuit of the Americas. He finished 31st, so I want to give Boris some credit.
He got out there.
And he says he is not retiring. He's backed off on that now. He says that he might come back for more road courses.
Yeah, we'll see. If somebody will give him a ride.
Told you my sleeper last week. I told you my sleeper was AJ Allmendinger. Top 10 finish.
There you go.
I'm telling you.
The dinger can be counted on.
The dinger is a ringer. All right, Dave, what about the Indy 500 pole qualifying?
The greatest spectacle in racing coming up this holiday weekend, kids. You thought you had a youth movement going in on the final day for qualifying. You had Rinus VK, the 20-year-old Dutchman, who won the week before on the road course, had the pole. Then Colton Herta, 21-year-old American, takes the pole. But no, your veteran, Scott Dixon, flies by a mere, 0.03 of a mile an hour to knock Herta off the pole and take his 4th. So, well done by the old guard.
All right. You might not be able to answer this, but I'm just going to ask it. Is Jimmy's running this, right? Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson is not running it this year.
He's not running Indy?
He was there for qualifying as an analyst, and being there around it all and seeing everything going on, has come out and said he is more comfortable with the idea of running the 500 now.
But he's not running it this year.
Not this year. Look for him next year.
Okay. Now, speaking of veterans and people who are semi-retired or retired, I just saw the promo today, the first promo today. June the 12th, Saturday night on CBS, SRX Racing, where they're bringing back all the old school guys from all the different F1, NASCAR, bringing them all in.
Indy.
Tony Stewart, Helio Castroneves, Michael Waltrip, Tibbs. Willie Tibbs is in this.
Nice.
Prime time Saturday night racing, SRX racing. The cars are all the same.
Oh my God. This goes
Coming June the 12th.
This goes back, way back to the 80s when ESPN had your old retired drivers, David Pearson, Buddy Baker, going against each other in equally prepared Jaguars at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the short track.
I will be very interested to see how this plays out because I've been disappointed. Anybody who knows how I feel about media knows that I don't like the coverage NASCAR gets. Fox has pushed almost all the races to FS1. NBC, now I don't know what they're going to do.
If they don't have NBC Sportsnet, they'll
Pushing
probably
them all
go to Peacock.
But why doesn't Fox show all of the NASCAR Cup Series races on their main channel when CBS has got the balls to put this SRX racing in prime time on Saturday night on their main channel?
I have to give CBS props because
Yes.
usually they are the wishy-washy network for everything.
Oh, we've ripped them apart on the weekend edition about how they're all PC all the time.
Yep.
But they're bringing in what we will admit,
This is
predominantly
gonna be
white bread sport.
This is going to be fun. I like this idea.
Yeah. I'll check in. It's just like the XFL. You
Something
check in
different.
the first week or two, see if it's good, see if it's legitimate, see if it's fun.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, you check out.
You bail.
All right, kids. That's it for segment 2 of Sports Frenzy 2.0 on May the 26th. The Conquistador and I will be right back with our dumbasses of the week.
And we've got a few of them, kids.
When the mindless zombies at the major sports networks won't leave you alone. When the forces of evil on local sports radio have you cornered. Load up the boomstick known as Sports Frenzy 2.0. Available on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kevin Dave will drive the dull and boring voices in your head away and offer you the sports salvation you need. New episodes drop every Thursday. And don't forget the weekend edition every Saturday, where the Maestro and the Conquistador might just review your favorite horror flick. Sports Frenzy 2.0. It's groovy. Hey everybody, welcome back. Sports Frenzy 2.0. We're taping here on May the 26th, 2021. This will hit on the 27th. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
We would be remiss. We're talking about the Circuit of the Americas, and we're talking about the SRX racing.
And Indy.
We forgot to tell you who we're picking for the longest, biggest race of the year in NASCAR, the Coca-Cola 600. Charlotte Motor Speedway.
The annual event starts in the day, ends at night, 400 plus laps.
4 stages.
Yep. This is stay for the day, kids.
So, I think Dave and I both tried to throw curveballs at the rest of the Sports Frenzy panel.
Yes, we trying to see if we could strike gold.
I just didn't have a good feel for this. I really didn't. I didn't want to blow somebody, no pun intended. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm not a champ. Check out the weekend edition to figure out what that means, kids. I didn't want to just go with a Logano, a Kyle Busch, a Ryan Blaney. Those were the names that were popping in my head at the first thought of Charlotte, but you and I both went kind of on a different path.
We did. We had to go, and crap, now I forgot who I took.
Oh, Jesus God! You took Alex Bowman!
That's right, I took the 48. It's been a long day, kids.
Yeah, he's had one too many adult beverages.
Yeah.
So,
no, I did, well, going back and forth between the myriad of drivers that you mentioned, I thought about taking Larson and decided, no, I'm going a different route.
Yeah, and I didn't want to take – I did take Kyle Larson. Number one, because, again, I didn't have a feel for the other – I was thinking Logano. I was thinking Blaney, maybe Kyle Busch, because the elder statesman and the Big Blue W both came in with Kyle Busch. Yeah, it's like, am I missing something on this?
He's won it before, but
this is a long race. Engine failure is a definite possibility. And then I looked at the odds. The odds came out this morning. Our deadline is tonight at 10 o'clock. So we always give everybody time to look at the odds if they want to on Wednesday. Yep. And the odds, number one, Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is number one. He's the favorite to win this. So I said, what the hell? I love the way he's been running lately.
Yeah.
Even at COTA. I think he's on a mission. I think Hendricks is on a mission.
That's why I went with the other Hendrick car in Bowman.
But do you really see Bowman winning more races than Larson?
Who the hell knows?
That'd be 3 for Bowman already. Just over the halfway point.
Yeah, well, Truex has got 3.
Yeah, but Truex, I would expect
established.
To
have. But now, you got to look. Bowman is with a well-established crew.
Right.
And they have a history of running well. Now, last year, Bowman dominated this, but faded late. We'll see if they can correct that.
So the 2 picks that matter, Dave takes Alex Bowman. I take Kyle Larson. Now
we get to the rest of the panel.
The dregs of society, the rest, the 6 other panel members. Jen has not got her pick in yet, but that's all right. The deadline is not hit yet. 2 Chase Elliott's for the juggler, Nick, and the governor, Doug. We have, as I mentioned earlier, Sam and Bill are both taking Kyle Busch.
Yep.
And then Aaron, the Big Easy, are we changing his name or not? We had our quarterly Sports Frenzy meeting this past Monday. Now we had
one legitimate person miss, and then one D-bag who bailed again.
The one who wants to make horse racing part of Sports Frenzy.
The one who demanded we have our quarterly meetings.
But Aaron wants, he was talking about being called the Diva.
Yes, yeah, we did talk about that. We will hold off on that for now.
For now, he is still the Big Easy, and the Big Easy is taking Brad Keselowski. So there you go, kids. There are our picks for the Coca-Cola 600 coming up here on May the 30th. Definitely one of the best races on the Cup schedule every year. Now, shockingly, this seems like a Bass Backwards episode because we've talked about golf, we've talked about hockey, before we've talked about baseball, football, and basketball.
I know. The big 3 get relegated to the back of the episode. What the hell?
Yeah, they're back here with the Red Foreman dumbasses. What the hell's going on? All right. First up, baseball. I already gave the Conquistador. As I mentioned, we got it together the other night for our quarterly Sports Frenzy meeting, and I gave him the appropriate amount of crap for his White Sox getting swept by the evil empire.
The worst time for everybody in the lineup to stop hitting. Absolutely pathetic. Hated it.
But you did help us out, the Cubs. You did help the Cubs out here. You just took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals.
Yeah, and again, bats went silent today as we take.
Yeah, Rodon did not pitch badly at all today.
My God, Rodon gave up 1 home run. He had another awesome outing, double-digit strikeouts. He's just rolling right along, and it was wasted. We left so many runners on base. It was pathetic.
So you're going to blame Tony La Russa?
For your getting in your mean Mercedes head. Twice Mercedes comes up with the bases loaded and can't do anything.
I know we talked about this the other night. So do you honestly believe that the whole Mercedes incident with him hitting the home run?
Swing 3-0, always.
Do you think it's really affecting him? Do you think this has really caused a fracture?
I have no idea. But since that point, he's gone into a bit of a slump.
Yeah.
And you've got he's a 28-year-old who's toiled in the minors, but he's still a rookie. And to be put in the position with the manager that way, it's got to do something to you. It has to.
Well, you guys are 28-20 as we tape. We mentioned your game is already over today. You are still first in the Central in the American League. You are one game up on Cleveland. So
yeah.
Now I got to ask you this, and I'm not trying to jump a topic on you without you having had the time to research it, but I heard through the grapevine that there was a massive fight in the stands in the game last night. Like two women were pulling hair and
which game?
The White Sox game.
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, made its way all to New York media. They were doing stories on it, so
they're probably from Allsip. That's where the two drunken asshats came and took out the Kansas City first base coach about 10 or 12 years back or longer.
And God knows it happens at every Major League Baseball stadium across the country. We've heard stories of people getting stabbed in the parking lot in Los Angeles. So the only place it
was actually probably between a Cubs fan and a Cardinals fan.
Oh, shut up, Dave. I was just going to do a nice transition here without you bringing that kind of animosity up. Say that maybe this stuff happens in Tampa Bay. Oh, wait, it can't because nobody's there.
Well, that and nobody wants to break a hip.
Even though they're one of the best teams in baseball. The Cubs somehow are 25-22. They are in the second spot in the NL Central. They are one behind the Cardinals. Yet Jed Hoyer is disappointed. Disappointed because the team will not get the MLB concessions for having 85% of their players and staff vaccinated.
Why will they not get the concession?
Because I don't know who's not getting the shots. I don't know who's not getting vaccinated.
Is there certain
This
personnel?
is the year of the Cubs. This is Ricketts being a cheap ass. This is Ricketts not caring. Ricketts wants this team to implode, yet they're not. And this is killing him because he wants to trade Bryant. He wants to trade Contreras. He wants to get rid of Rizzo. He wants to get rid of Baez.
He wants to go cheap. He wants to pull a Tribune company.
And you heard what the Big Easy said at our meeting Monday. He's with me. He was even more mad than me about it.
Oh, yeah.
Expletives were flying about Ricketts. And this is a younger person. I'm old school. Yeah. I've already lived through the heartbreak and the disappointment over and over.
And the
cycle.
tightwaddedness.
Yeah. This is a kid right around 30, and you've already ruined him. You've already blackened his soul, Ricketts, because he can see through the charade you're playing here. He knows what you want to do.
Now, we all know that this team was built to go through 2021. What the hell are you doing trying to live up through that? If you had any glimmer, you'd have actually ponied up and put some other pieces around these guys. If you had
actually bought one contract, just paid one person, paid Rizzo, giving Rizzo a 5-year, $100 million deal, giving the other guys hope, giving them a glimmer that they might have a chance of sticking around. Because I got to believe, I know you're not going to agree with me, the White Sox fan that you are, but
I know tightwaddedness.
Fans, this stadium, the atmosphere, Sheffield, Wayland. I mean, you have got to love playing for the Cubs. And it's almost like getting rejected by a hot girlfriend. The hot girlfriend doesn't want you anymore. And how do you feel? Do you want to still buy her flowers? Do you still want to take her out on a fancy date?
I don't know. Just ask Weezer. Or not Weezer, Offspring.
But Baez is still playing halfway decent. Bryant's still playing halfway decent. Contreras, Rizzo are still trying.
Bryant is actually resurrecting his career this year.
Yeah. So
this is the guy you would hope to have seen the last couple seasons.
Yeah. Now with him, I'm actually with the Ricketts.
Let him go.
Yeah, because
he's playing for that new contract.
Exactly.
He's playing for the trade.
Yeah, the other three I'm on the fence with. I'd like to keep Rizzo. I'd like to keep Contreras. Baez, if he could just figure out how to shorten up his swing a little bit, I'd be okay with keeping him. But he wants $300 million.
And hell to the no.
Yeah, so there you go. Dave, we're going streaking. Streaking.
Joe West style?
Oh, my God. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit hearing that.
No, everybody loves to rip on the much maligned umpire Joe West. But, God, you got to give him credit for 5,376 games behind the plate or on the field. That's incredible. Unbelievable, the run he's had. Broken 80-year streak.
Yep. Reminds me of, stories I've heard about guys that have, been on the assembly line in Detroit and put together like 30, 40 cars that have killed people. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're not getting me to say anything. Somebody gave him flowers or something, I heard, too?
No, they had the San Diego chicken there.
There we go.
Who came out and said, here's a bouquet of flowers. West went to take it, and the chicken walked away, just leaving him with the stems. Stupid little shenanigans they were running.
I was actually talking about the actual game on the Diamond, where we have had streaks, and you benefited the most from those streaks in our competition this week.
Yes, I have. The mythical 7-0 week.
Yes.
Thank you, Dodgers.
And they are still going. They are 8 deep in that streak right now. So here are the streaks I'm looking at. Current and recently ended since the last time we talked to you kids. The Arizona Diamondbacks have lost 9 in a row.
Ouch.
The Orioles have lost 8 in a row.
Ouch.
Yes,
that's good for the Sox, though, coming up with the Orioles.
Dodgers. Now, you say that.
But now the Orioles are going to break the slump.
We picked the A's this week because the Seattle Mariners were losing hand over fist, and they came out and beat them 2 out of 3.
I know. I was not trying to rub salt into that wound.
Tampa Bay, they had 11 in a row going, winning before that just ended the other day.
Yeah.
And San Diego had 9 in a row. So, you know what's happening, kids? Everything's settling back and settling down into where we thought it was going to be.
Yep.
Dodgers, Padres, good. Rays, smart and good.
Yep.
Orioles, suck ass.
As usual.
Diamondbacks, suck ass.
As usual. Now, the only team that really is still way down on where everybody thought they would be. It's the disappointing Braves.
They're about 500 right now. They're floating around 500.
But they're not where there should be, where expectations were for them.
Well, we talked about the NL East and the NL Central are the two divisions where they're treading water. You know, your first place teams, the Cardinals and the Mets, are barely above 500. As I said, the Cubs in second place at 25 and 22 in the Central. That's pathetic. That's pathetic.
Good. That is not good.
You have got, and we said, doesn't matter who wins the division in the West, between the Dodgers and the Padres, whoever comes in second will be in a wild card game. Yeah. We knew both those teams were locks to make
in the playoffs.
The playoffs.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about the Yankees, the White Sox, even the hated Astros are going to figure out a way to get in.
They'll probably be the wild card at this point.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if Tampa Bay keeps us going against the Blue Jays, against the Red Sox, against the Yankees, and once again they get in the playoff.
What the hell are you going to do?
Kevin Cash should be everybody's manager that they want.
Oh, hell yes.
Just like Joe Madden was 10 years ago.
Yeah. For whatever they're doing down there works.
Yeah, with no fans, with no fan support, somehow they make it work. All right, quick NBA news. Playoffs are in full swing. Yay.
You just got to wait for the finals.
The Brooklyn Nets are cruising. The Clippers are a fraud. I want to put that out there. The LA Clippers are a fraud. Anybody who thinks over the last 10 years they all of a sudden become this great team.
No.
Doc Rivers was a great coach, and then he left, and now they got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. No, they got beat at home twice by the Mavericks.
Ouch. That you can't get beat at home in the playoffs.
No. And then, of course, you got the Lakers. The tragic story of the Lakers. Oh, they had to fight their way into the playoffs. I watched that goddamn play-in game with them and the Golden State Warriors. I'll tell you what. Steph Curry is 10 times the player LeBron James would ever hope to be. LeBron James flops his ass off in that game. And the commentators, except for Jeff Van Gundy, who I want, can we have an opposite of the dumbasses? Can we have
the genius?
Yes. He gets knocked down, and everybody says, "Oh my God, he hit his head! Oh my God, flagrant foul! Oh my God, LeBron James is hurt." Then they show the replay. It was about 8 inches. He did not hit his head on the floor. Okay? And then he comes up and he's acting like he can't see.
Oh, come on.
He's acting like he's blind. Seriously.
Trying to get the flagrant.
Yeah. Ray Charles is going, "Oh my God, I don't know if I can shoot the free throws. Oh my God, oh my God." And Jeff Van Gundy is the guy I want to give the props to. He's up in the booth going, "Can we just play basketball and stop with the drama?" Please. Nothing happened. Don't kick the guy out for the foul and just get LeBron playing the goddamn game again.
There you go.
And they won. Oh, shock of all shocks, they won. And then the same shit happens the other night. They fall behind the Suns. He's involved in a foul with Chris Paul. Chris Paul actually gets injured. So game 2, of course, what happens? Chris Paul can't play. And the Lakers make a miraculous game 2 comeback and win. This is why I hate the NBA. It's predictable. It's soap opera drama.
So you're saying it's kind of like the WWE?
I'd rather watch wrestling. I would rather watch wrestling. God help me. All right, couple NFL tidbits before we move on to the dumbasses.
Happy retirement, Adam Vinatieri. Your all-time leading scorer in the NFL. The kicker's calling it quits. So
I don't know how to feel about that, though. It's a kicker. It's a kicker. And he was not good.
No. How many
the last couple years?
How many game-winning kicks over the last few years did he completely botch?
I know. And people are going to say, well, how many did he make with the Patriots?
Well, when he was in his prime, yes. Right. But there's a point where the last couple years he should not have been in there. And he had to battle to try and save his job. There's just nobody else that took the reins. And
because as the Bears fans would know, good kickers are hard to find.
Yes, they are.
Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson will not report for OTAs.
Oh, go figure. Watson still wants out, but who's going to take him? And now his legal troubles are going to continue on into 2020. Why the
2022.
hell? Or 2022, yeah. Why the hell are they waiting that damn long to get his deposition?
Yeah, 2022, February 22nd, 2022.
Is when they're scheduling
That's
his
the
deposition.
earliest he can be deposed.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
now, does that open
ridiculous.
up does that open up the window for him to possibly, because at least a team will know he will probably be able to play this year, unless the NFL's discipline committee, or whatever they call it, the jackboots,
come in and say, well, there's enough here where there's smoke.
There's a suspicion.
Fire.
There's a suspicion. All right, dumbass time. Dave, who you got?
Cleveland Indians pitcher Zach Plesac breaks his thumb taking off his damn jersey. This dumbass got so upset with himself for having a bad outing that as he whipped his jersey off, he smashed his thumb onto a chair, fractures it, and he's out.
Yeah, and Cleveland did not have a lot of great pitchers outside of Justin Bieber. So
no, and
Justin Bieber, is that right? That's the singer.
That's the singer. I can't think of his first name, but yeah, Bieber's been the only one that they've
Shane
had.
Bieber.
Shane.
Oh my God, I'm so ashamed. I'm thinking the weekend
You're
edition.
So ashamed.
I'm already jumping ahead to the weekend edition,
which you need to check out wherever podcasts are. Anchor, Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and CastBox.
All right, I'm going to call it the PGA. We've already talked about the problems they had with the crowd control at the PGA Championship, which was unforgivable, especially if Brooks Koepka actually had his knee injured in that crowd, in that melee, as Phil Mickelson came up to the 18th green. But I've got a better one for you. Props to Yahoo Sports. I'll give them credit for this. Colin Morikawa, the previous champ, of course, it was a quick turnaround because, remember, they played the PGA Championship late last year because of COVID. So Colin Morikawa won. He has to do a photo op with a podium with the Wanamaker trophy on it. You know, he's smiling and he's holding the trophy before he passes it on to Phil. And this podium he has it on, very well done, very beautiful, crafted, etched emblem. Whoever put the emblem on the side, the PJ emblem, spelled professional with 2 F's. That has got to be the dumbass of the fucking year. This is why I always scream and yell about, where are the proofreaders? Where are the people double checking these idiots?
You talk about dumbasses.
PROFFESSIONAL is not how you spell professional.
Moron.
And this is, again, an embossed, raised emblem.
And where the hell is the stewardess?
It had to have gone through multiple people.
The person who signed off on it from the PGA, the person who wrote it up, and the moron who actually created it.
I got one more. I don't want to bring politics in, but we got to wrap this up. ESPN had to go there this morning as we tape on the 26th. Couldn't stay away from politics. Lead story on ESPN.com. Donald Trump. Haven't we gotten over this? Donald Trump used campaign money to pay off Arlen Specter so he would drop any congressional investigation into Spygate involving the Patriots.
For the love of
what
God!
What are we doing?
Why is this even a story?
But it's front page news on ESPN.
Why is this even a story at this point? Good God, just let it go!
Kids, I'll let you be the judge. I think you kind of know where I sit on this. I think you know where the conquistador sits on this. So for David Height.
He's the Kevin Crane, the maestro.
We will check you out. Remember, the weekend edition is now available on all streaming podcast platforms. We have gotten away from exclusively Spotify and Anchor, so check us out.
Give us a rating.
We love you. We'll check you out next week. See you, kids.